my fellow Americans. This is former President Barack Hussein Obama, and you're listening to the Mad Titan Podcast. Please be sure to support this young brother from Chicago, Jay Washington, because he's a funny bastard. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington. What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 51 of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. What is going on, everybody? Thank you, all of you all who have showed me a lot of love and sent your well wishes on the 50th episode of the podcast. That's definitely a milestone, something I didn't expect to hit. But nonetheless, here we are. We're at 51 and we're going strong. You know, normally it should be, I've been hit 50 with a year long, yearly, doing it weekly. But of course, there's sometimes in the summer and winter, there isn't really any news. There's lulls in news where there's nothing coming out to talk about the Marvel and DC TV shows and movies. And even if I tried to make an episode sometimes, 15 minutes, seems like a tease. So I might wait a week, how I normally do, to build up things. And for everybody who is new to this, first and foremost, let me thank you for checking it out. If you find out about me through Wrestling Sheets, somebody else, Blurs in the Hood, whatever the case may be, thank you for being here. I know it sounds like I don't have much of a voice. I don't. I've been working the bouncer gig all weekend, yelling at people to throw some dudes out a couple times, and for my regular, the other hosting stuff, and then auditions, stand-up, everything. I'm going to do some stand-up tonight as soon as I'm done recording this, so I'm trying to stay busy. Then I head back to Chicago, which I'll tell you guys about at the end of the episode for C2E2, where if you're in Chicago and if you're going to the convention, you can catch a live recording. I'll tell you, like I said, tell you about that at the end. But for those who are new to this, what I do here weekly, or so to speak, is to get you caught up on everything that's happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. This is barbershop talk for nerds. So what do I mean by that? That means that I'm going to keep shit real with y'all. I'm not going to, quote unquote, spare your feelings. We're going to talk like it's a bunch of friends. It's literally just me saying we, but I'm talking to y'all like you hear me and I'm right in front of you and you're listening. And it's like your homies just talking, whether it's your guys, your girls. I don't ever want this to feel like you have to be a super duper just nerd per se. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But I want people to feel included in this. I want people to feel like they belong with this. I want people to feel like, yo, this is something I can tell my homies about. I can tell my girl to listen to. I can tell my guys to listen to. Like, we all can kick it, all right? So you cool with that? Now, you already know if you get any feelings about a lot of shit, this ain't the podcast for you. This ain't the one for you. If you feel like you're getting your feelings about some stuff, you might want to bounce away, because I really don't care. Sorry to sound so rough. But I always kick it off with what I have first, and it's my Marvel news. And Marvel news, there's been a lot coming out this week. So, for the Eternals, there was word that has been that the Eternals would introduce the first openly gay superhero in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right? Now, it was rumored to be Phastos at first, Brian Tyree Henry's character. Then people thought it might have been Dane Whitman, played by Kit Harington, or even Icarus, played by Richard Madden. Well, thanks to Haas Suleiman, who went to New Next Now, he reported that it is indeed Phastos, Brian Tyree Henry's character, who will be playing the openly gay superhero, and Suleiman is going to play his husband. Yes, and they're going to have a family and children. And he also goes to say that they shared a kiss, a moment on screen. It may not just be a little pet kiss. It's a real moment. It's an emotional moment that they shared. And he says when they shared that moment, the cast and crew around were all emotional. This is a big thing, y'all. This is very big. This is one of those things that needs to happen. It needs to. We keep talking about representation all around the board. I know me as a black man, when I see representation, I'm very happy for it. I'm excited for it, to know that people who look like me, who sound like me, who talk like me, and things like that are shown on the big screen to the world. And with the LGBT community being a big part of the community, being part of the world as they've always been, and now being given that voice, shall I say, without a shroud, now being able to be given that visibility. it's just as right that we should have them represented. But also, before anybody gets upset, because I know there are going to be people who are going to be like, oh, look at Marvel and look at all these companies go woke, go broke, and they're trying to force diversity and blah, 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 blah. Maybe you've not done researching a lot of your comic book characters, especially within Marvel, because many characters are gay men, lesbians, bisexuals, all of the sort, even transgender. Sunspot from the New Mutants, Cannonball as well, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Iceman from the X-Men. You know, and I know that we've done the whole thing in the movies and TV where he's in the Kitty Pryde and in the Rogue, but it's come out that Iceman is gay. So I say all that to say, like, yo, this is nothing to trip over. Now, on Blurs in the Hood, with Winston and myself, Winston A. Marshall and myself, we talked about this, and Winston felt that at first it wasn't enough of what they did in Avengers Endgame, because Marvel has been touting about their diversity for a while, and he felt as if it wasn't enough. Joe Russo, if you don't remember, played a man in a support group ran by Steve Rogers, who went on his first date post the snap. And when he said it, he was like, I went on a date and we had a good time, and he cried and blah, blah, blah. And it was just a thing he just spoke of. It was a him. And it was no big deal that he was a gay man going on a date with a man. It was just there. It was showing inclusion. Whereas opposed to in Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, you had two women who had a kiss at the end of the battle, when we seen these characters earlier and nothing at all, stated or gave any, reference that they may be in a relationship. And you don't want to feel like things are shoehorned. And I felt like the one in the Rise of Skywalker was. I feel like in Avengers Endgame, we've slowly built to that. Now, just in general with the MCU, you also have Valkyrie, where we learned that the plot of Thor Love and Thunder is Valkyrie is looking for her queen. The king needs her queen. And yes, Valkyrie is the king of Asgard. She's not the queen, she's the king. So, excuse me. Sorry about that shit. I told y'all I was losing my voice. I'm trying to keep drinking water and everything and get my shit together. So yeah, I don't think this should be a big deal. I don't think people should be upset about it. I think we should embrace it, especially, what I'm saying, it's a lot of what all other shit is going on. I feel like, our superhero characters are meant to mimic us in real life in some way, shape, form, or fashion. Yes, it is a heightened sense of mimicking, but at the same time, we have to be open and embrace that. So I'll be happy to see it. Eternals drops in November this year, so that'll be dope. Miss Marvel, the service is going to Disney Plus. We don't know who's playing Kamala Khan yet, right? There's no word yet. But what is going to happen, which is going to be really weird, I think. Well, it's weird because it's going to be bringing it back. Miss Marvel is going to reintroduce the Inhumans. Yep, you heard me. Now, excuse me, damn. Now, this is according to the Illuminati. They say that both Red Dagger and Cameron are being cast for the series. Now, Cameron, in the breakdown, is specifically named as an Inhuman. Now, we don't want to remember the Inhuman show. If you ever watched that bullshit on ABC when it happened, I'm sorry for your brain. I'm real sorry for your brain, because I know I went through it. And especially if you were one of the people who went and paid to see the first 2 episodes in IMAX, I apologize to your soul for you. Because I felt like you just set yourself up for an epic failure doing that. But it is nice to see that Marvel has not completely abandoned them. They've not completely abandoned the Inhumans. They figured, hey, we got this new start. We can go ahead and try to bring some characters back. Now that Marvel Studios basically controls everything within Marvel, which is the majority, not everything, the majority. They control the majority because there is still Sony and what Sony holds. And it's a great thing to hear that. It's good that you want to give these characters back, because there are so many more stories than what we just see when it involves the Avengers. Of course, we know about the X-Men. You have those. You have the Inhumans. You have all these different sections when it comes to comic books and stories that you can translate. Now, a lot of people will keep bringing up that whole bullshit about superhero fatigue, which is a fallacy, for lack of better words. That is not a thing. That is not a thing. The fact that people are constantly going to these movies are steadily generating revenue, this shit's going to continue to happen. So I really can't wait to see what happens. I'm just really excited to hear who they announced to play Kamala Khan, because that's going to be interesting. Speaking of Disney Plus, the Loki series. Now, it is rumored. I'm real skeptical on dropping rumors, but it's a possibility. It is rumored that the Loki series may introduce Kang the Conqueror. Here's why it's a rumor. Loki is said to be messing with time and going through time. If you know of Kang, he is about a time. He's about time. So it is not for sure. This is somebody, now again, this is maybe rumored because this is somebody that after Galactus, people wanted to have brought into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. You wanted to see somebody, you had Galactus, you have a Thanos. Now it's like, yo, where's Kang? So this could be a shot in the dark. This could be a potential for something. Again, we are now in the phase 4, which is the more cosmic, mystical, magical space phase of the MCU. So we'll see what happens on that note. Now, it's some Spider-Man news. It's not directly Spider-Man news, but it's let me break it down to you. So, we all know that this is the last Sony Marvel partnership movie, which is the third Spider-Man film that's going to happen, right? This is the last one. So, this supposedly means that Tom Holland will leave the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Well, Sony's boss, Tom Rothman, he said he wants to basically keep this deal going. Now, they were talking about it, and this is what they were saying. Now, the fan base, which is important for us to all seem to realize what Tom Holland and the Spider-Man crew had done before, he says, and they like it. They like the fact that the MCU and Kevin Feige were involved, and we heard feedback out there that suggested joining forces once again, probably a really good idea. He went on further to say, when someone asked him about Spidey sticking around, he said it's a finite deal. You know, of course, like I said, it was never meant to be permanent. But this is what he said when people asked about him sticking around the MCU. He says, I hope so. I think this is a classic win-win-win. I think it was a win for Sony. I think it was a win for Disney. I think it was a win for fans and moviegoers. The only thing I would say about that is that the news cycles and the rhythm of negotiations don't necessarily overlap. I think we have gotten there, and the news has gotten ahead of some things. This is the realest shit to understand in here. All right? The news circles and negotiations do not overlap. What that means is that unless you have people who are in the know, like in the direct know, who got sources like that, assistants and stuff, leaking stuff, people who are dead in the negotiations, dead in those rooms and on those phone calls, that is when that stuff is happening. Until it is released to the press or the public or somebody like myself, any other journalist, pundit, critic, whatever, that's when the majority of people find out about it. These are not concurrent. These don't happen at the same time. These may happen one after the next, where negotiations have been going on for months, and then all of a sudden it's dropped in everybody's Twitter feed or somebody writes an article on it, and now you know that, oh shit, Sony and Disney are talking again about keeping Spider-Man further. And so now the speculation goes, well, what's going to happen, or how long have they been talking? The thing is, it's business first. As a fan, as a moviegoer, I understand a lot of us feel entitled to, we should be privy to everything that's going on. Well, we can't. We're not. And we're not supposed to be. Because again, this is a business decision. Unless you are part of that board, unless you're part of those businesses. I know you're saying, well, if it's not because of us, they don't make money. Let me stop you there. You're one or two people. And even if 100 people say that, you are not really affecting anything for a movie that makes $1 billion. And then to people who be like, well, what if a bunch of people got together? The movie is still going to make $1 billion. It is what it's doing right now. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is, no matter how the films may have been critically reviewed, some may have been raved, and some may have been ranted on, it is still a success no matter what. Sony Spider-Man now, thanks to the MCU, is a success. And because of that success, we're going on into other franchises. See what Venom did. Venom cracked $1 billion. Now, was that because of the anticipation and the hoping that Tom Holland would show up in the movie? Probably so. Probably. Will that translate to Venom 2? Well, if anything that's come out with these videos showing Woody Harrelson on set as Cletus Cassidy and some of the things he should be doing where you have to imagine the CGI being put in, possibly. But we don't know. Will Morbius continue that? Who knows? But either way, people are still going to support these. Remember, there are people who say they would never see comic book movies ever, right? But turn around and find something that intrigues them and say, fuck it, I'm going to go. Now, that may sound like one person, but imagine that one person multiplied by 100,000, because that's what happens. That's what happened with Wonder Woman. That's what happened with Black Panther. That's what happened with Captain America. The list goes on and on. People who never thought they would go to see these movies because at first they felt they didn't intrigue them. There was nothing interesting about them. They end up going. And then that money adds up. So at the end of the day, these companies know what they're doing. Let's just leave it at that. If this happens, I'll be happy as shit. I mean, again, was never meant to stay permanently in MCU. And I respect that. So I understand the business behind it. And some other news involving Spider-Man per se, but also the MCU. Not per se, shall I say. Sam Raimi. Now, last week I mentioned that Sam Raimi is in talks to direct Doctor Strange into the Multiverse of Madness. Doctor Strange 2. He is in talks. Places have gone on to report he is officially confirmed. He is not confirmed yet. He is in talks. And I understand how the internet works, where if you hear somebody's in talks, it's almost a sure thing to be. That is not the case all the time. But in this situation, he's canceled a Monster ManiaCon appearance, and it said he's canceling due to filming. Now, Doctor Strange 2 is set to go into production, I believe, filming production. If I'm not mistaken, it's July or so. And so, excuse me, guys, I'm sorry for the coughing, man. I'm trying to keep professional and shit like that, but y'all know me. I've worn my voice out. But it all but confirms that he is the director. Now, if that be the case, then fine. But I think everybody had jumped ahead of the gun when it was like, he is in talks. And that was like, yo, he is this, he is that. Remember, both Nicholas Hoult and Robert Pattinson were up for the role of the Batman. And people were just like, yo, it's Nicholas Hoult. No, it's Robert Pattinson. It was blah, blah, blah. It wasn't until it was officially announced that it was Robert Pattinson. So I think the internet got to chill. Like, I know I work on the internet. I engage with a lot of you all via the internet. You listen to me via the internet, and I appreciate it. And I think we've gotten to this day and age at this point where we jump to conclusions. We jump to summations. We jump to assumptions because we automatically like, yo, if they're talking about it, it's going. I talk to Christian Harloff all the time. Doesn't mean I'm guaranteed coming back to the Schmodown. And I use that as an example for those who know. And I'm not saying that any derogatory way or demeaning way towards the Schmodown. I'm just using it as a personal example. So for anybody jumps off the deep end with that. So, again, when you hear talks, it doesn't mean confirmed. But in this situation, him canceling appearances due to filming, and when the con is, and when he said to begin filming for it, if he is the director, then yeah, we'll go from there, okay? So WandaVision. Now, WandaVision is another Disney Plus show. Of course, Elizabeth Olsen and Paul Bettany will be reprising their roles as Wanda Maximoff and Vision. And by the end of this, I believe Wanda Maximoff will officially be called the Scarlet Witch, which people have not understood that yet. She is not the Scarlet Witch. She is still just Wanda Maximoff. It won't be until she goes crazy and loses her shit in this show will she be the Scarlet Witch. Well, they also are filming this, of course. And one of the other intriguing things that came out through Comic-Con last year is that Tiana Paris from Mad Men, Chirac the movie that I got the pleasure of working with TT on, and so much more, she is going to be the older Monica Rambeau. Now, there have been photos that have been coming out, set photos. I'm not one to normally go on set photos. Y'all know me. It depends on what the photos are. Well, I would say set photos I'll go to. Concept art I don't. Let's say that. Concept art I don't rock with. Set photos I believe because it tells you things. You find out people who were on set that didn't know at first like that. Well, set photos with Tiana Paris and Randall Park, who is reprising his role from Ant-Man, show the two of them together, right, walking. Now, here is the dope part about that. Tiana Paris is wearing a S.W.O.R.D jacket. She is working for S.W.O.R.D. She actually shows up in an SUV. All the SUVs are marked with S.W.O.R.D. For those who don't know what S.W.O.R.D is, S.W.O.R.D is the space counterpart of S.H.I.E.L.D. Okay? Now, when did we first see S.W.O.R.D? At the very end of Captain Marvel. That is when Nick Fury was having the scrolls that were there, they were building. So for those who don't know what S.W.O.R.D stands for, it stands for Sentient World Observation and Response Department. So again, now we know that all of these worlds are out there, especially post Avengers, the invasion in Avengers and in the Avengers Endgame and everything. And, now with what S.H.I.E.L.D. knows and all this. So S.W.O.R.D is there. There are scenes showing Tiana going into buildings. So S.W.O.R.D has an Earth base. I don't know if it'll be in WandaVision to where they go directly in space yet. We'll see on that, right? But it's dope to know that this is happening. We are expanding again. Phase 4 is space, cosmic, all of that. So we're expanding it as much as we can. Cool. In the last bit of Marvel news that I have, it's for another Disney Plus show. We're getting a lot of casting news, a lot of stuff about Disney Plus shows, and I'm so excited for it. Honestly, I can't wait until Comic-Con to see what happens with that. For The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Carl Lumbly. Yes, Carl Lumbly, the man who plays Martian Manhunter's father in Supergirl. He was Mantis, his own black superhero back in the day on Fox, and so much more. He's been cast in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now, people have automatically assumed that he must be Isaiah Bradley, the Black Captain America. But there's a possibility he's not. I love us. I love people in the nerd world. I love people in the internet world who talk about these things, who when they hear a casting, we automatically pinpoint who they're going to be, until we actually hear the actual casting information and news of who they are. Like, we automatically say, yo, they cast this person? Yo, they that. Like, bruh, can we find out? Like, I'm one of those people that will speculate as well, but I find myself, when I'm speculating, I pull myself back. And I pull myself back because I'm like, all right, if they're doing this with that person, then is this going to be something where if they're just in one film or a couple of episodes and they're not utilized for the long ride, am I going to be upset? Am I going to be mad we didn't see more? So until then, I just let shit ride. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I understand comic book fans. I understand sweaties. I understand because we are so connected to these properties. Because we are so in tune with the source material that we want to make sure it follows a storyline to a T. And I've had to say this many a times. Every comic book storyline cannot translate onto film. All right. It is a daunting task to take things from pages that are drawn, scenes that are drawn, stills that are drawn, and make a full movie out of them. Because if you take an issue of a comic book and you try to make a movie out of it, that movie is probably like 5 minutes, if that. You know what I'm saying? So I think we need to just hold back, y'all. Hold back. Chill. It's going to happen. Let's get into my DC news. We got our first looks at the Batman's Batsuit. The first peek we got from it was thanks to Matt Reeves in a camera test video we saw. And then some set photos dropped and showed the full version of the suit with the Bat Cycle. Now, it is very armor. It's more tactical. The cowl looks like it's stitched. The insignia in the Bat logo in the chest, it has pieces of metal, and upon closer observation, it looks to be a gun. Everybody is now referencing if it is the gun that killed Bruce's parents, the gun used by Joe Chill, which you can find in the Detective Comics issue number 33. I'm happy for what I see. I'm excited about it. I, like many people, have let go of Robert Pattinson being from Twilight. But then again, there's still many who have not. Robert Pattinson is an actor that has done a bunch of shit past the vampire movie. A bunch of good shit. He has played a lot of serious roles, a lot of dramatic roles. And yes, I understand that he said some things about Batman at a point that made everybody go, would you shut the fuck up? Like, we gonna watch the movie if you don't stop fucking talking. But at the same time, let that man do what he does. Affleck has come out in support of him and believes he's going to be great. And I think any previous Batman has always done that. So let that be. But other than that, I think the suit looks dope. I like the Bat Cycle. The Bat Cycle's got to grow on me. But again, this is like Batman Year 2. So for everyone who is expecting this high-tech, super upgraded thing, more specifically what we saw in Batman Begins or Batman Begins or The Dark Knight, different variations, different directors, different visions, different looks. Calm down, boys and girls. Calm down. I saw a bunch of people going, oh, I don't like the helmet. I don't like the cowl. Okay, there's going to be things everybody doesn't like about something. There's a lot of people who didn't like certain bat suits. But give it a shot before you start shooting it down. Like, yo, chill. Like, I found myself at points having critiques, and criticism of certain things. I know I do. I'm human. It's what I do. But at the same time, I'm always of that give it a chance mindset. And I always go back to Venom. Gave it a chance. I personally did not like it. But for some fucking reason now, I will watch it on Stars. Don't you judge me. And don't tell BC I said that. Because if he hears it, that's why he's not on here this week. Because I knew I had to talk about some Venom stuff and I didn't want to talk about it with him. But I give stuff chances. So granted what stuff looks like on TV, I gave X-Men Apocalypse a chance. I gave Justice League a chance. I gave all these different movies a chance. And granted, my personal opinion, it may not be yours, and it's not reflective of people at large, but we good. We good, all right? Black Adam and Shazam 2 are set to film during the same time this summer. Now, why is this a thing, Jay? Why is this a story? Why is this news in a sense? Well, of course, we all know that Black Adam is the main bad guy of Shazam. If you saw the deleted scene footage from Shazam, you see that Shazam and the family are sitting on the thrones in the Rock of Eternity, and they look at the empty seat, and they're like, who's this seat for? And you have Megan Good's character, her older Darla Dudley, go, whoever he is, he's a brother, and I'm going to love him. Doesn't realize it's Black Adam. There's other things that have been referencing him. Now, Zachary Levi has said that we will not see Black Adam until the third movie. Okay? Black Adam is supposed to be an anti-hero, and I'm not sure if it's going to be an origin story per se. I don't know yet. I haven't heard fully. I think it is. If it is, please make sure you hit me up on Twitter and Instagram. Let me know if it is. I got to do some checking on that. But we'll see what happens. Now, the thing is, these are going to be two crazy schedules. Is there a guarantee for a crossover? Yes. No. Excuse me. There's no guarantee. Are they going to film in the same locations is another thing. Shazam films in Philly. Now, unless Black Adam is filming close to Philly, also realize The Rock can fly when and wherever he wants to at any moment's notice. But if he does appear, I wouldn't be surprised to see him appear in a post-credit scene to Shazam 2, setting up Shazam 3. Also, Black Adam comes out first. December 21st, 2021. Shazam drops April 1st, 2022. I could now, after reading those again, see that Black Adam is a prequel, an origin story of Black Adam, leading up to how he's imprisoned or things like how he's imprisoned and entombed, and then leading into Shazam, where Shazam 2, something happens leading into them, mastermind after he breaks out Dr. Savannah or has somebody else in control, they dig up Black Adam and bam, we go into the third one. All right, so I'll be excited to see. I'm excited for that. I'm excited for it. I'm glad to see The Rock finally doing this. He's been wanting to be a part of it. We know for the longest we were like, yo, is this dude gonna actually be Black Adam? Like, yo, he's been saying it. Then you hear he's got a director and it's got a release date, and you're like, all right, let's go. So. But that was also thanks to Shazam 1's success in the theaters. And my final bit of DC news before I go into a couple quick recap of some of the shows. Now, I do the Harley Quinn animated series reviews with Winston A. Marshall over on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAYWashington80. And we've just knocked out the season finale. You can go over there and check out all the reviews for the entire season. At the time we had recorded those, we didn't know if Harley Quinn would get a season 2. Granted, the end opened up the door for a second season. We didn't know. Well, yesterday it was announced that Harley Quinn has been renewed for a second season, and it will drop the first week of April this year. I highly encourage you, if you have not watched Harley Quinn yet, please go watch it. One of the things I've always praised is DC Animated. DC Animated to me is flawless. DC Animated to me is better than Marvel Animated. When they've done some of the Marvel animations, yes, and I'm talking about the new event, the Young Avengers and the Thor versus Hulk and all those. Yes, I believe DC Animated is better. I love Teen Titans Judas Contract, Gods and Heroes and all that stuff. I loved all of those DC Animated movies, and DC Animated is top tier to me. And Harley Quinn, it is written so beautifully. I can go into the voice acting, which is amazing, and it's impeccable. Alan Tudyk, Kaylee Cuoco, Lake Bell, so many more, Ron Funches, J.B. Smoove, Jason Alexander, all these different people who add to the show. It is amazing. It is amazing. The writing, however, is done so well. It is so cerebral. It is so well thought out. The jokes are not just, we're going to just drop a joke here to drop a joke. It works because it plays into something, ties into something, goes back to something, will lead to something forward. It all works. This is one of the top tier shows for me on the DC universe, and I highly, highly recommend you go check that out, all right? I have not watched Supergirl or Batwoman. Now, I was watching them all before Crisis, and before Crisis, my schedule wasn't crazy on Sundays. Unfortunately, it picked up, and I haven't had a chance to rewatch it. Now, I know you're like, well, Jay, you watch all the other shows. Why can't you restream that? That's because I'm trying to watch all the other shows and, again, doing so much other things. I never want to discredit what Melissa Benoist and the crew are doing. I don't want to discredit what Ruby Rose and the crew are doing. Matter of fact, Batwoman has been renewed for a second season. I told you that previously. So it's still happening. It's just I haven't had the full chance to, and I'm going to catch up on it. I make that vow to you all. I will definitely catch up on all of what I've missed out on these previous episodes. And I will, fall in line with it. But I miss Arrow. Legends of Tomorrow. Legends is one of my favorite shows because there are no real rules. Now we're dealing with these encores. And so this episode got kind of crazy because of things it did. At one point, Charlie mentions this mystical thing to Constantine. She says it's spread across the multiverse. Now, I'm not sure if Charlie is aware of the fact that there, quote unquote, is no multiverse. It's just Earth Prime at the moment. And also, we see Maria Antoinette, who is the new Encore, as they believe, and she is Nora's doppelganger. Now, some people were like, well, damn, I thought we got rid of doppelgangers. First of all, you've seen that there are doppelgangers from different Earths still here because everything merged into one. So that is possible. But I think the thing of the multiverse was a slip up that I believe that they can, navigate around. Now, granted, all the episodes have pretty much been filmed. And I think when they realized that, they probably backtrack it on this next upcoming episode, which, by the way, is directed by Katie Lotz, who plays the Black Canary, which I am very excited to see. Katie Lotz grew on me from Arrow. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know how to feel. But as an actor, she's phenomenal. As a human being, she is so dope. And I cannot wait to see what she offers as a director of this next upcoming episode. So we'll definitely see that. I like the fact that you have Zari, who is from the new timeline now that she saved her brother and is now working with the Legends, and slowly but surely is remembering things that the others already knew, how to, be a computer tech and hack and things like that, and is now helping out the Legends as a part of the team. I enjoy that. I am very sad that both Ray and Nora will be leaving. From what was told on Instagram a couple days ago, Brandon Routh put a post up, and he was talking about how it was him with Nick Zano, who plays Citizen Steel, and how he is sad to be leaving the show, and he's thankful for all of the memories. And a fan commented, "Well, don't leave." And Brandon responded, "It's not my choice." So, unfortunately, characters are written off of shows all the time. And Ray Palmer has been a stalwart since episode 1. The main three that have stuck around since episode 1 have been Katie Lotz, Dominic Purcell, and Brandon Routh, which are Mick Rory, Sarah Lance, and Ray Palmer. And the way they're going to rock, so Ray and Nora are going to leave off to have a normal life and be happily ever after. It is very sad, but it's understandable. It's the way this show is. And also, this show also keeps in a rotating, interchangeable cast. So you kind of get it. The Flash, this was an interesting episode of The Flash. Of course, you had Iris, who was trapped in the mirror from the previous episode, and she sees that there is a doppelganger Iris living with Barry. And I bring that up because you don't see a lot of Barry in this episode. There is very little Barry, maybe in the beginning and the end, and that's really it. You have more of the Ralph Dibny finally finding Sue Langford, who he's been looking for the longest. She ends up double-crossing him, being a thief and whatnot. We see another interaction with Ultraviolet and Dr. Light. And so I think, no, it was Ultraviolet. It's really interesting, this. And now you also see that Nash Wells is plagued by the vision, I believe, of Wells 2. Or is it a different, I don't know how this is going. I'm waiting to see if this is just all a hallucination or whatever the case. But yeah, Black Lightning was a repeat episode, so hopefully by the time you hear this, it'll be a new episode, and I will talk about the newer episode when I am in Chicago doing a live episode of the podcast. So right now, I'm going to go to your emails because I don't have any calls. Let me see if I got any calls this week to the Mad Titan Podcast hotline, 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. You already know. You leave your calls, your voicemails, your praises, criticism, questions, critiques, and if I can hear it and everything, I'll play them on the show. But I do got a couple of emails. One from D. Ashley, who says, 50 episodes in, what would you tell your younger self, and how do you feel about Wayne Brady being the bad guy on Black Lightning? Also, do you think the guy who talks to computers will get killed off in Black Lightning? First of all, Joe, thank you for that. 50 episodes in, what would I tell my younger self? You are going to go through a lot of shit. And when I say this, you are going to go through great times. You are going to go through wonderful things you never believe you can do. People you're going to hang around you never thought you would meet. But to the same extent, you are going to go through some of the hardest times in your entire life. You are going to go through hardships to where you want to give up. You are going to be homeless. You are going to be jobless. You are going to be heartbroken. You are going to almost die. You are going to lose friends, lose family. But what you got to do is hold strong, because believe me, it is going to all be worth it in the end. You are going to be grateful that you stuck it out. You are going to be an amazing father. You are going to set an example for your children. And you are going to persevere. You are going to open a door for so many other people. You're going to open doors for people that you never thought you would. You are going to have some doors shut on your face because of the doors you're going to open for other people. You are going to be blacklisted from some places because you have the freedom to speak your mind and say what is right and wrong. Speak out against things you know that is BS. And you will watch things change only because you said it, only because you put forth the effort, and you have to still remain steadfast and vigilant. You still have to know that no matter what, you are capable. You are strong enough. You're good enough. You're enough. That's what I tell my younger self. I love the fact Wayne Brady is Gravedigger. The interactions with him and Khalil Payne, a.k.a. Painkiller, were phenomenal. I like the way he does that. I like what he is doing. I like the way they brought it. The fact that he's in quote-unquote dead, he'll just be brought back for later episodes. I'm fine, and I'm here for it. And I do think TC, the technocrat, I do believe he will be one of the outsiders get killed off, because he's the one that you really have to watch for because of what his abilities are. I believe the ASA will kill him. Now, I have not seen all the rest of the episodes. I do believe the ASA will kill TC. So we'll see what happens with that. Excuse me. I have one more email I want to get to, and it's from, it's a different Joe. Hey, Jay, Joe from the Philly area here again. I hope I haven't sent any emails recently, but I'm watching Batwoman, I know. And dang, I wish I didn't find the show so dumb at times. Not sure where you are on it, but the 216 episode opens with the doctor, once again, claiming the mere idea of someone in Gotham City being able to wear a mask of someone else and perfectly imitate their voice is, quote, sheer science fiction. In Gotham City, the same city where this is canon, Batman was running around fighting the Joker as far back as 2003. And this takes place in the same world as Superman, Supergirl, Martian Manhunter, The Flash. The skies literally turned red a few weeks ago, and this guy's line and this guy's time. Sue Dearborn literally wore a similar Mission Impossible style mask on The Flash. So my question for you is, how does the writing of the show continue to be so dumb even post-crisis? Like, who conceived this character that has no right existing in this universe? I thought the show would be getting more interesting with the introduction of Second Beth, but boy howdy, it's a struggle. Anyway, hope you're doing great. Love hearing you on other podcasts, and hope to hear more of you returning to wrestling, and maybe see you come back to my neck of the woods sometimes. Thanks for reading, Joe. Joe, appreciate you. Appreciate you first and foremost. So as far as Batwoman goes, I was very, and there's no secret how I felt about it. I was very like, ugh. Now, when it comes to the writing post-crisis, here's something that's going to kind of, all right, a lot of these shows were written out already. Everything was done. These shows wrote their individual episodes. Their writing team got together. They wrote their episodes. They formatted and structured everything. At a certain point, they knew that, yes, we have to structure things that play post-crisis. We have to add a few elements. Now, that does not change from the overall theme of the show. The only ones, Batwoman is a different thing. The only one I think that, the only two that really wouldn't feel it are The Flash and Legends. Here's why I say not feel it. The Flash has been predicated since season 1 on Crisis. So everything would be made, the whole Flash has been predicated on Crisis. So everything will fall in line with the way they've been writing the show no matter what. So nothing changes with that. Legends exists outside of time. So there are certain things with Crisis they will deal with, some things they will not. Some things will remain the same, some things won't. So yeah, Supergirl is dealing with it. But as far as Batwoman goes, Batwoman is just been a writing struggle in itself. But again, I consider it growing pains. We'll have to see what season 2 does. And I understand people want to go ahead and watch it and give it the support and rock with it. And there are a lot of lines and a lot of times, but there are things that are done like that in Black Lightning as well. So let me make sure I bring that up before anybody's like, well, you don't say this about Black Lightning. I definitely have. If you watch my reviews on the episodes, there have been times I have definitely criticized what goes on. I have criticized the writing. I've criticized the shots, the scenes. I've done that. So I guess it's just going to be on the writing team come second season to make things better. I think that's the best and only way I can really describe that. I don't know of any other way to put it, if that makes sense. So hopefully that helps, if any way. And I know it sounds confusing because it's confusing to me, but we're talking about a show that its entire existence is written a certain way without remembering it has to connect to everything else. Whereas with Black Lightning, it was never meant to connect until now, where it does. Well, that's all the time I got. That's not all the time. That's all the questions I have for this week. But again, please leave me your emails, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you are leaving your calls again, 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. Leave your calls there, all right? Thank you to everyone who has listened to this episode. Please make sure you rate and review your boy. If you're on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher, Player FM, wherever you're listening, please go ahead and review. Your review means a lot. It helps out so much more than you possibly can understand. So please go ahead and review. If it's been a while since you reviewed, go ahead and review again, all right? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. It's MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. You really should. Make sure you are joining my Patreon, my Supervillain Squad on Patreon, patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. A lot of stuff is coming up, and I keep telling y'all that, but you're definitely going to get stuff from this week when I'm about to tell you after I do that. But join the squad, and also the squad helps to make everything sound better, look better on the videos, and so much more. Thank you to my members of the squad, Dalia Chamberlain, Akeem J. Brown, AZ Badfish, Brandon Buckingham, California Joe, Kasi Nachalobe, David Adams, DJ Snacks, Fanboy Cantina, Fred Castillo, Greg Morshik, Hank Staley, James Smart, Jeffrey Chadorn, Jim Mason, John Mariano, LK, Marcus Kennedy, Marcus Burton, Mikey Lito, Paisley Darts, Randy Constance, Rudy Rueda, Samir Tesfaye, Steve Tozen, and the Prince that wasn't promised. I am grateful for you all more than you know. Thank you so much for being the dope-ass people you are. Shout out to Keena Wiltz, shout out to Chauncey Woodson, and so many others. I appreciate y'all. Now, told y'all I was talking about this at the end of the show. So I'm recording this on Sunday, February 23rd. On Wednesday, February 26th, I will be back in Chicago for a week. That night, if you're in Chicago, catch me at Comedians You Should Know at Timothy O'Toole's, 622 North Fairbanks at 9 p.m. I will be on the show there. And I will be at C2E2, the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Friday and Sunday, I'm walking on the floor. I'll be hanging around doing interviews and talking to people. Saturday, at 2 p.m. at the Chuck Loader Comics booth 1677. I'm doing a live recording of the Mad Titan podcast from there. I'm trying to see which one of my friends that are in town that are doing the con are going to be available so I can get them to slide by only for 10-15 minutes. I know a lot of them have autograph appearances they got to do with signings and photo ops. So I'm trying to see who I can get over there to come talk for a while. We'll see if I can make that happen. But yeah, I will be in Chicago Saturday night as well. I will be at the Laugh Factory, the 7:15 show and the 9:15 show. 3170, I remember the address. It's been a while. Belmont and Broadway. 3150 Broadway. I'll be on Belmont and Broadway at the Laugh Factory, the 7:15 and 9:15 show, and I'll also be back there on Tuesday the 3rd at 8 p.m. So come out and see me. Like I said, I'll be in Chicago. I'll have other shows that'll pop up. I'll probably get added to something Thursday and Friday or whatnot the case. But make sure you are catching me at C2E2 if you are in Chicago. Stop by, say hi, take a picture, do all what you got to do. All right? Thank you all for rocking with your boy. I will holler at you all next week. Till then, take care. I'm out of here. Y'all already know the deal. Peace.